What's up, guys? Jin here with another episode of the Otakuology podcast. Doing a review on Gravity Falls episode 1, or episode 4, it's season 1 still. This one is called The Hand That Rocks the Mabel. So, perfect fashion, how this show gets and will get farther in the future. That I love. There's these random TV shows that pop on. And this one was a tiger that supposedly got hurt. And they had to almost go in and bicentennial man him. And whenever they gave him these chemicals or whatever to fix him, he grew an arm. And so the name of the TV show is called Tiger Fist. I think it's pretty funny. I also like it because this is one of the first episodes where we really get to see some other product placement stuff, I feel like. Which they have this cola, which is called Pit Cola. And I think it's some kind of like peach, because I think it's called Pit off of like a peach pit, maybe. I actually think there's an episode dedicated to this in the future. Anyway, so we do this, we get done, and right in the middle of Tiger Fist, there's a commercial for the Tent of Telepathy, which we find out is run by this family, and has the child in it. Gideon is supposedly a telepathic that can read the future and all those stuff, which honestly I feel like this one reminds me a lot of there's an episode of Supernatural where they kind of do the same thing, where there's a tent and they have to basically figure out why these reapers are coming, and they'll take somebody else's soul, and instead of taking another one, there's like a trade-off basically. Which I love that one. So everybody calls him Little Gideon, though. He is very small. It's really funny because he has like a white pompadour, which is, where your hair's kind of like all balled up in the front. He's got a Texas necktie where it's the 2 strings. And then a blue, like a baby blue suit, almost like a preacher. Kind of thing, and he has an American flag pin on his jacket, or on his blazer. So it's just really funny seeing part of that stuff and how you have such a character. But you find out the past, basically, Grunkle Stan and them with the Mystery Shack and the Tent of Telepathy have basically been in a feud off and on. He doesn't like Gideon because supposedly Gideon can swindle people more than he can. And they sell like Gideon merchandise, I guess, like for high prices, which I think is another thing that irritates Grunkle Stan. So not 100% sure because we don't really get into it, but anyway, he basically starts trying to date Mabel and figure out kind of all that stuff. He really wants Mabel, and it's really weird because he keeps putting her in a position where she feels uncomfortable to say no, which I feel like this is it's kind of a part where you can tell a lot of things about Gideon, is he likes to put people in a position with the rest of like the crowds and stuff around him to kind of like trick or talk people into saying yes to him. So it makes it really disturbing for his character, or to see his character do that, honestly. So She goes and talks to Dipper about it, and she goes, "Oh, what should I do, Dipper? I don't like him." Da da da. And they've hung out like a few times, and Dipper goes, "Well, at least go on this one date with him, and if you don't feel anything for him, then you don't have to worry about it. Just move on from there." And so that happens. Basically, everybody loves Gideon, so he's almost allowed to do whatever he wants anywhere he goes. He got a giant parrot to come in and learn basically some stuff to ask Mabel out to a second date. And like I said, gets guilt tripped in. There's an old lady standing there and it's like, "Oh, well, if this doesn't get accepted, then I'm going to die." And then there's a doctor standing beside her. "I can confirm that." It just makes it kind of I don't know. It makes it like it's forced. He's forcing people to do that, and they're almost all stuck in the same boat. So, I don't know. I kind of hate that part. But we're going to take a tiny break. All right, guys. We are back. So, we got to where Gideon basically tricked Mabel into going out with him again through the bird, and a little old lady basically saying, "Oh, well, I have to see this," and a lot of other stuff. So with this one, we do have that second date go on. Mabel is at home pacing around and tells Dipper, "I don't know how to break up with this person. I don't want to be a bad person, but I don't know how to do it," and to let them know, "Hey, I'm not really interested." Which is just supposed to be the one-time date. And she actually brought that up when he asked her the second time. So anyway, instead of Mabel going in, Dipper goes in and tells Gideon, "Hey, Mabel doesn't like you. There's whatever going on with that. Kind of leave her alone, virtually." And Gideon goes, "Oh, okay," all cheerful the way that he is, and plays it off. And then puts it in his own head that basically Dipper is the enemy, and Dipper is the one that is controlling Mabel, and told her to say no. So that's a whole nother what the hell moment right there with it. But we have a couple other things that happen too with that. There's a date where basically Gideon plays it up to almost seem like the boat scene in The Little Mermaid. They're floating down kind of this river, and here's all this stuff. And once they get to some point, then these fireworks go off, and all their stuff. Meanwhile, Grunkle Stan is kind of behind the scenes talking to Gideon's dad about them actually teaming up to do a Mystery Shack Tent of Telepathy kind of crossover combo, and both of them profit off of the marriage, which was it was really weird. But both of those are men that would almost do anything for money. So anyway, moving forward, we finally have a point where Gideon he pops up somewhere for Dipper to talk to him. And Dipper's trying to explain to him, "Oh, hey, I'm sorry, about that," and doesn't really get the words out or anything before he gets knocked out and wakes up in this factory off on some hill or whatever that's abandoned. And it has basically, Gideon's merchandise and stuff. So, the factory looks really old, and then maybe the family just bought it and started storing his different merchandise and stuff in there for him to sell. But he gets Dipper to come to the address, off of, Toby Determined, basically telling him, "Oh, hey, there's something that's going to be there." So Dipper goes. It's Gideon. Gideon had paid Toby off and stuff. And he basically tells him that, he's ruining his life because he's trying to come in the way between Gideon and Mabel. And then we find out that Gideon's Texas tie is more than just a tie. There's a green gemstone that's actually in the main part of it. And every time he grabs it, he can sit there and he actually has psychic powers, which ends up becoming a thing. It's a little green gem that's in his necklace, but he can actually pick up stuff and move it around. I think at one point it's almost like Star Wars. He almost force chokes Dipper at one point, which just this episode with all the different little tie-ins that you could imagine and say, oh, well, I know that this probably came from here or whatever. I think this is probably one of the episodes that I really enjoyed just because of all the little tie-ins and stuff. But yeah, they go, that happens. He takes, Mabel comes in, tells Gideon, no, I will never like you. They end up snatching the necklace off of him and busting it so that the power's gone. Gideon comes home to where the deal is basically getting laid out by his dad and Grunkle Stan, and he basically says he'll never work with him at all, and so they rip up the contract and Grunkle Stan leaves, stealing a clown painting that he loved though, so I guess that works out. And I don't know if we see the clown painting later on or not. I feel like we see it in one other episode, maybe. I could be wrong, because I don't remember seeing it in future episodes. But then we kind of pan out to them talking, and we pan back into Gideon being there. And he's basically making these little wood, sculptures, and had put together a little mystery shack, popsicle house, and he's playing with it, and oh, la, 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 and you hear him say, well, basically, if that's what they thought was going to happen, and there wasn't more ways for things to be done, then that's it. You see Gideon reach over and closes this book that the talisman with the telepathy gem in it or whatever had broken. You see that. So we know that he got it from somewhere. And then they close the book and it reveals that it is the Gravity Falls guide kind of thing, book number 2. If you don't know this, in the future, it will be more explained, but there's 3 books that were created. Dipper found number 3. Gideon obviously has, and we don't know how long he's had it, number 2, or how long he's been using the different stuff to have mind control or whatever over people. So we find out that there is a book 2, and we find out that there's obviously potentially a book 1 that we will just have to see later on as we go. But yeah, this stuff was fun. I think I really liked this episode off of all the different little things that you could tie into other TV shows and movies and stuff like that. But yeah, and then we come to the end of the episode, which is how we started basically, and that's Mabel bedazzling things. So they bedazzle Zeus and shine lights on him, and he looks like a human disco ball because all light starts bouncing off of him. So kind of funny. But that is it. That was that whole episode. It was really, really funny. Seeing all the different scenes, and just how short Gideon actually is. He's even shorter than Mabel, so that's kind of another funny part to it. But I mean, I really, truly, honestly liked this episode. I feel like we're about to get into some episodes where a lot more of the characters get fleshed out. Like this one, we got Gideon, as well as his dad and a few other people. But yeah, this one was season 1, episode 4, The Hand That Rocks the Mabel. So, I mean, and it was good. But check out some of our other episodes of the Otakuology podcast. They're great. Like I said before, it's run by me and my co-host, Otaku Mike. And stop by and say hi, or watch one of our shows and leave a comment somewhere. Thanks for watching or listening, and we will see you next Tuesday. Bye.